Alright guys, so I'm going to share with you guys, just as the title says, how my snowmobile got stolen and exactly how it got stolen and what happened in the long run. If you guys watched our videos in the winter time with the snowmobiles, and if you caught it, Peter said I was dealing with some legal stuff and he wasn't sure that he can share it yet.
Ain't much right now. Be some legal stuff going on probably. Slavic is innocent, so proven guilty, dude. Slavic got his sled taken away. I think that'll be a video for a little bit later.
So now, after everything has been finally settled and all done for, I'm gonna share with you guys. So let's get started. I forgot my coffee. I need to look professional, dude. I legit bought this drink specifically for this freaking video, and I forgot it. We got the white girl drink, boys. Let's get started in this story. Roll the clip. It all started the very first day of this year. Actually, no. It went back to 2021. I had a CR 250 dirt bike. You guys probably saw some clips. I didn't have much content with it because I didn't have anybody else to ride with. But it was a 2003, 2004 CR 252 stroke, very nice bike. And I traded it for a 2016 Polaris Axys Turbo 800. My very first sled, the sled had issues. Motor wasn't working, it was half taken apart, had to take the motor out. Had to weld the engine mounts on the motor, and the motor ended up blowing up after 2 rides. So, unfortunately guys, after our last run, we actually blew up the engine. Would you look at that? See, old engine, all torn apart. I had to replace the motor, the track ripped, had to replace the track. Basically, I've gone through every part of the sled and made it pretty much brand new. And you guys have seen videos with the sled. It was the blue and white one, my very first sled. So I'm very high into this sled, and I posted it for sale for $9,500. So I posted it in the end of the year, and nobody bought it. And then the beginning of the winter, I posted it again, and then on January 1st, somebody wanted to come take a look at it. They came over to take a look at it, looked at the old engine because I still had it, and I was being honest about everything that happened with it. Then they ended up telling me that this sled is stolen. And I was like, no way. And basically they explained to me that the guy that they sold it to was paying it off. He didn't fully pay it off. Then he ended up selling it to me. And then they found me through the Craigslist post, and they're there pretty much to confiscate the sled. I'm very sketched out at this point, and I was like, I put way too much money and time into the sled to just let you guys have it. And even though they did have a title with their name on it and the registration matched their name, I still ended up paying for this sled. I still ended up putting a lot of time and money into this sled. So we're gonna call the person that I traded my bike with Steve, and the person that the original owner, we're gonna call him Karen. Steve told me that I did not need a title when we traded, and I knew that in Washington you don't need a title for a snowmobile. In fact, if you have the title for a snowmobile in Washington, you go to the DMV to register it, and they're gonna keep the title and just give you a registration paper. So they get rid of the title anyway. So knowing that, it's kind of dumb, and it's very easy to steal sleds that way. But knowing that little bit amount, because this is my first sled, keep in mind, I just went with it. Fast forward, Karen comes over, claims the sled is stolen, all that. And before Karen came, I actually messaged 2 weeks prior to January 1st, I messaged and asked if he can give me a new bill of sale because I lost the old one. We had a bill of sale right now. And then when this Karen guy comes over to take the sled, he's very skeptical to me. I thought they were working together, that they were friends, because they did know each other, and that they were basically trying to screw me over out of a sled that I put so much time and money into, because now they know I don't have any kind of paperwork for the sled. So anyways, they're in my garage. I asked them to leave. They did not want to leave. Took a video of them in my garage for trespassing because I wanted a lawyer involved. I wanted to get everything figured out legally. Police got called. Police came. They came in, looked at the VIN number, matched them. I don't have any paperwork to prove that it's mine. So the police let them take it, even though I showed them basically messages and a bunch of evidence of who I got it from. and how I got it and everything. Basically, I was not a suspect for theft at that point.
So, turns out this sled is stolen from these guys because whoever they sold it to didn't pay them. And I ended up getting this off a trade. And cops came. Gotta say goodbye to the sled. Too bad.
I was talking to Karen and their brother, because there were two of them that came over, and at that point I was like, you know, I'm willing to take a loss. I was like, how much money did he not pay you? He said $4,500, which he lied. And I didn't believe him at all, but I was like, whatever, I'll pay the remainder of the sled just to keep it, and then I'll go in court and sue the other guy because of this whole thing. They're like, yeah, maybe, we'll see. And then after they took the sled, I messaged them the next day. They want nothing to do with it. They're like, no, the sled is worth more to me now that I have it. I was like, all right, well, I put thousands of dollars, replaced the engine, did all this stuff to the sled. Let me take those parts back. I'll give you your old parts. No, they didn't want nothing to do with it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go the legal route then, because you are in possession of stolen property at that point. It's mine, my time and money. And they basically just claimed the sled. They sold it. Basically 2 days later, they sold the sled. So I went to court and I filed in a small claims court. And the way small claims court works in Washington is you can sue of up to $10,000 personal and business to $5,000. So I was gonna sue to the maximum, $10,000, and I was gonna sue Steve, the guy originally got it for $5,000 for the value of the bike. And because I'm thinking they're working together. I filed everything in court. Fast forward a few weeks, I get a call from the sheriff's department asking me for the VIN number of the dirt bike that I traded for that snowmobile, ironic enough. And I was like, I'm not giving any, I have the VIN number, because apparently the dirt bike got stolen from Steve. And I was like, I have the VIN number, but I'm not giving it to anybody. I'm not giving it to him because he blocked me and there's a court case going on. And I was like, can you confirm his phone number? Because I've been trying to call him. And I gave him 2 different phone numbers and the police said, no, that's not his phone number. I was like, all right, can I have his phone number? They said, no. And I was like, okay, well, can you have him call me? If he calls me and talks to me and we'll get this situation figured out, I will help him with the dirt bike. That same night, Steve calls me. He doesn't know anything that's going on. He's telling me about the dirt bike that got stolen, that he needs the VIN number for the police. And I was like, well, here's the thing. And I explained what's going on with the snowmobile. He was furious. He had no idea. He said he fully paid it off and everything like that. At that point, I don't know who to trust. One of the things we also did is, since we both lost the bill of sales, we rewrote bill of sales completely, and, and dated it to exactly when it was, had everything, notarized and everything legal and legit. Then fast forward a few months later, our court date is set up, Karen served, and it was time to go to court.
We're going to court right now, finally. Today's our court date, and we're going to find out whether, I win this court case. What I'm trying to do is basically get compensation for all the parts and the work that I've put into this snowmobile, which I didn't show everything on YouTube, but I've probably put in over, if you do all the math, probably around $15,000 worth of parts and labor. So if a shop did it, it'd be more like $20,000 in parts and labor, if not more. So yeah, wish me luck. Say a prayer for me, boys and girls. And at the end of the day, we're gonna continue moving forward no matter what, because we gotta make the content for you guys. Gotta, when crap hits the fan and life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? Just, you just move on and you keep going. You don't let it beat you up and take you down. So that's what we're gonna do. No matter what, this will give me some closure and we can move on. So fingers crossed. Say a prayer for me, and I'll let you guys know how this process works, because I can't take my phone with me. So let's go.
I went to the court. I had probably 20 pages of evidence and just parts list. I got a quote from a local dealer for an engine replacement. That alone was $8,000. I was only suing for 10. I have all this evidence, did everything the legal way, dressed properly, as you can see in the video, did everything correct. Karen shows up to court full confidence, 100%. He's like, got the title, good to go. You know what I mean? He goes to court. Judge is like, here, I got this guy, me, a bunch of evidence. And he asked the defendant, Karen, like, where's your evidence? What do you have? He pulls out the title. I got this title. If you want to see it, I'll show it to you. Judge is like, okay. What you're supposed to do in court is you're supposed to have 3 copies of your evidence. One for you, one for the defendant, or whoever is going against you, and one for the judge. You didn't do that. I did. I go and tell my story about everything that happened. People in the back are like, wow, what the heck? Like, they were in awe. They were shocked of what happened, that this guy can just, you know, see all my hard work, everything that I've done, put thousands of dollars and time into this machine, that he can just come to my house and just take it from me because it's the easy route instead of going and suing Steve originally because he didn't pay him. He went after me and an innocent person that, you know, had his legally owned the machine. He just went the easy path and used the cops to do it. And when it's time, after I was done talking, the rest of the time the judge is arguing with Steve about all this. Like, he's like, do you think this is fair that this guy just had the snowmobile beat up, broken, fixed everything, put thousands of dollars, and then you just go ahead and take it from him like that? And basically it was an argument back and forth because he's like, well, I had the legal right because I'm acting as a dealership, because if a dealer sells you a car and you don't pay it, then they can go in and repo and confiscate it. And the judge's like, you're not a dealer. That's not how this works. He said to them, if you, Karen, sold your snowmobile to Steve and Steve didn't finish paying it off, he still has the legal right to sell it. It doesn't mean he doesn't owe you money still. He still owes you money, and you had every right to go to court and sue him for the money that was due to you. But Steve has every right to sell that snowmobile to somebody, and they can legally own it. In fact, you holding the title is you are doing something illegal because you're not allowed to hold the title. You know, that you're not a bank, you're not a dealer, you can't operate that way. And basically, at the end of the day, the judge was telling him, like, hey, this is wrong what you did, and you're not supposed to go to take this. You basically stole the snowmobile from this guy because he legally owned it. Doesn't matter about your title. He legally owned it because he bought it outright. And what you should have done is went and sued Steve for the amount of money that was due, which he admitted to the judge was $3,500, not $4,500. In fact, the judge is like, well, the thing that makes the most sense at this point is for you to give the snowmobile back. But since you sold it, and then the guy, Karen's like, well, I didn't sell it. And he's like, well, the judge looks at the papers that are evidence that have with text messages. He's like, well, it says here that you sold it. He's like, I didn't say that. He's like, I'm looking at this text messages that you said that you sold it. He's like, oh yeah, I said that, but I didn't actually sell it. I was just trying to get him, basically, to shut him up. And so at the end, the judge is like, I'm gonna give you guys 1 week to try to resolve this, figure it out between you guys. If you don't figure it out, we call the court, and then I'll make a decision. So get out of court, walk outside. Then we're both walking, you know. He opens the door for me. We go outside. He looks at me and kind of chuckles a little. He's like, well, that didn't go the way I thought it would. And I laughed a little. And then we talked. And I was like, what do you expect, man? Like, you completely stole the snowmobile from me. You completely screwed me over. It's not fair at all to me. Like, I did nothing wrong at all. Like, at all. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, so what's the plan? What do you want to do? And he's like, give me the night to think about it. Next day, doesn't message me. I message him a couple days later. He doesn't respond. A week goes by. I was like, all right. So I called the court, told him there was nothing was settled. The court says, or the court sends me probably a month later the final decision, basically saying that he owes me the full, the $10,000 plus an interest rate. If he doesn't pay, whatever, like basically the whole entire case, every single dollar I won. And then I had to wait. I messaged him and let him know that he should have gotten a copy. He doesn't respond. A month goes by, and after a month, you can start doing collections and everything like that. You know, go the legal route to collect the money that's due to you. A month goes by, I message him, and I let him know about everything. And I'm still, you know, even though I was treated bad, even though, you know, he's lied to me throughout the whole process of trying to make things right for a long time. You know, I still wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be greedy and take a bunch of money from somebody. I'm not trying to screw anybody over. I'm just trying to get back what's mine. And, you know, I still wanted to, instead of just going straight to a collection agency and just completely ruin his credit and, you know, go to, you know, the sheriffs and have his like vehicles impounded and sold at the auctions to make the money back. Instead of doing all that, I still try to work with him, try to explain to him, like, you know, the best possible way, you know, try to work out a deal to make it work. And he just like wanted to give me the sled back. And I was like, at that point, you know, the sled's not worth that anymore. It's already in the middle of summer. The sled's worth, you know, 40% less. I'm losing a whole bunch of money, and I went through all this time. Like, I don't want the sled back anymore. I was trying to sell the sled at $9,500 in the peak of the winter, and it would have sold. But now it's probably worth $6,000. So I was like, if you want to give me the sled, I need at least $3,500 on top. He thought about it, and he's like, you know what, screw it. He's just going to give me the money, because it's just, for him, it makes more sense. He can hold on to the sled till winter, sell the sled for $9,500, $9,000, whatever it is, and he won't really lose much. He just pretty much bought a sled, a good sled, because that sled was in amazing condition. After I was done, it was perfect. He ended up paying me half, and then 2 weeks later, he met me again and paid the other half. And at the end of that, you know, we just like, you know, told him, I was like, man, I was like, no beef here, you know, we're all good. He's like, yeah, we're all good. And I was like, you know, I don't want to have problems with anybody, you know, I'm not that way, you know. You guys can see from my videos, I like to troll people sometimes, especially Karens. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't want any kind of beef with anybody. I don't want to fight with anybody. And that's kind of how we left it. We're like, no beef, we're all good. You know, it is what it is. It happened. At the end, he's like, he bought a Boost 2023 or something. So he's got a nice sled. And I was like, man, we see each other up on the mountain. We can ride together. So ended off on, I would say, a pretty good note. At the end, got the money that I needed for it. And, you know, it was all good. That was a good bite. Caramel Ribbon Crunch, guys. Pretty good. Pretty good, I'd say. What's the point? Why did I post this video? Number one, it's kind of a promise that I would let you guys in and let you know. Peter kind of mentioned it, so I wanted to bring it out. Number two, shoot, I'm getting wet. Number two, it's kind of a lesson for you guys. Make sure if you're buying something or trading something on your local marketplace, you know, private party. Number one, that you know the rules for the machines that you purchased. I've been on marketplace for many years, probably over 10, 12 years, but I've never dealt with the snowmobile, so I didn't really know the rules. I didn't educate myself enough on the rules for my state and the state nearby me. So it was a lack of information and education on my part that I could have done to prevent all this. If I knew ahead of time that Idaho needed titles, this could have been prevented. Another thing, I could have looked at the registration card and I could have saw that the name on the registration doesn't match Steve's information, and that could have been resolved. I could have saw something a little weird going on. So that's one thing. The other thing that I lost my train of thought. I gotta look at my notes. All right. Action. Anyways, we had 2 weeks until we were supposed to go on a McCall trip that was planned out months in advance. I had no sled, and that's why I was offering to pay $4,500 to get my sled back. But anyways, it didn't happen. So he told me that he didn't want to go and sue Steve because it's a pain in the butt. A long process, expensive, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm here to tell you it is a long process, but it's not expensive. It's very cheap, actually. It costed me $35 to file a claim in small claims court. And it's made very easy so that anyone like me and you, anybody private that doesn't need to deal with a lawyer, can go to court, make a small claims court on anybody, you know, and then you go to court, and it's kind of like Judge Judy type of thing. You know, you show your case, your proof, everything, and they do their part, and then the judge makes a decision right then and there. It's very quick, easy, and it's very inexpensive. I had to pay for $35 for the filing fee, and then I paid, I think, $100 to get the person served legally, which, you can have anybody 18 and over that's not directly involved with the case go and serve whoever it is. But I wanted everything done, you know, professionally. So very inexpensive, $135. Now don't be afraid to go, if somebody wronged you like that, or you're in this kind of situation, don't be afraid to just go to the courthouse and do this. It's not hard. It took a little while, but in the end, it paid off, because what else are you gonna do? Lose out on $10,000 or more of work? I mean, my personal time and money, it would have been over like $20,000 that I would have lost, you know. If I was talking about, you know, charging, let's say $100 an hour for my labor, and then all the parts that I put into it, that's a lot of money to be lost. So don't be afraid to do it. This was my first time, and I was very intimidated by it, but it was worth it. Don't be a Karen where you just want to take the easy route. If you sold a sled to somebody, first of all, don't sell a sled to somebody and take payments. It's the dumbest thing you can do. I've been offered that before, never doing it. But don't do that. If you did do that and somebody didn't pay you, go to court and deal with it. Do it the correct way. Don't just try to go and steal it from somebody else. So yeah, that's the third thing. But yeah, if you guys were in my shoes, let me know what you guys would have done. Comment down below. Let me know you guys' thoughts on this. Now we got that 2021 Khaos 850, which is, I'm 100 times happier with that sled than I ever was with the turbo sled. That sled is freaking amazing. You guys already seen some videos with that sled. That thing is freaking legit. I'm so excited for snowmobiling season. Totally, if you're watching, screw you, because he keeps sending me all these reels on Instagram with snowmobiling, and it's getting me excited, but it's freaking June. It's like July almost next week. So yeah, but I'm getting excited for snowmobiling. It's not good, it's too early. And you guys need to start liking the snowmobile videos. What is this? Like, snowmobiling is so much fun. Like, you guys, if you tried it, you'd understand how fun it is. And I want to continue to film awesome snowmobile adventures. So watch the videos, support the channel that way too, in the snowmobiling and the pit bike and four-wheeling, jet skiing, everything that we're doing. And the more the channel grows, the more awesome things we'll be able to do. The more, you know, shit, random crap like the shifter cart came out because, you know, we can a little bit, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks for sticking around. If you guys watched this whole video to the very end and watched me ramble on about all this, then thank you very much. Love all you guys. I'll see you in the next video.